Okay, I know, being diagnosed with celiac disease sucks. You have to change your diet for the rest of your life and say goodbye to, let's face it, lots of your favourite foods. But today I'm going to offer you an opportunity for a mindset shift, especially if you're a person who doesn't like the taste of gluten-free foods. I'm Kristina Richardson, the celiac disease dietitian, and today's video is a short one, but we're going to take a little dive into those negative feelings you might be having about the gluten-free diet. So I hear a lot of people who have just been diagnosed with celiac disease talking about gluten-free bread and just gluten-free food in general, saying it tastes like cardboard and how much they miss having normal bread, and even sometimes that they just can't enjoy food anymore. So let's just focus on the issue of gluten-free bread, which is probably the biggest bugbear of newly gluten-free people. And first of all, let me just say, I get it. Gluten-free bread is not the same as wheat bread. It's not as fluffy, it's not as chewy, it doesn't seem to last as long, etc., etc. But although I get it and I understand, I've been there and I'm not trying to discount anyone's feelings or experience, I just wanted to provide you with a chance to shift your mindset around this idea that gluten-free food is terrible, because you know what? It's really not. In fact, I actually don't think gluten-free bread is that bad. When I was first diagnosed, the thing I was probably most disappointed about was the size. I mean, a gluten-free sandwich, when you're used to a normal one, can at first look a little bit pathetic. But I never really found the taste or the texture of gluten-free bread to be that bad. And you know what? When I was first diagnosed, it was total novelty and a real treat to even get gluten-free bread at a cafe or a restaurant. Usually I just have to order bacon and eggs with no bread, or omelette with no bread, eggs benny, no bread. But nowadays, I can't even remember the last time there wasn't a gluten-free bread option with breakfast. It's just the norm now. And same with lunch and dinner even. So maybe that played a little bit into my current appreciation for gluten-free bread and being catered for in general. Because in my opinion, and I'm guessing quite a lot of other people's opinion, gluten-free bread is a hell of a lot better than no bread. So still to this day, I actually really like most of the gluten-free breads I buy on a regular basis. Aldi have a really good one, Coles have several good options, and my all-time favourite for making toast is just the cheap home brand one from Woolies. Now you might think, well, it's all very good to be you, but that's not me. But what if all the options you had were all of a sudden taken away from you and you had no bread to choose from at all? Let's just think about that for a moment. Anyway, we'll go back to that in a minute. Now, I do admit there are some gluten-free breads that can taste a bit like a dry washing up sponge, but generally those ones aren't the best quality, or they've been on the shelf a little too long and they've gone a bit stale. But there are so many others that are really quite good when you get them nice and fresh, and they're getting better all the time. I have certain brands that I love for making nice, fresh, soft sandwiches. I have other ones that I really love to toast and I just have with a little bit of melted butter. And you know what? I've actually made some really, really good toasties with gluten-free bread. Like, I'm talking really good. We went through a phase a couple of years ago where we were a little bit addicted to toasties of a weekend. Usually the filling would be baked beans and cheese, or sometimes ham, cheese and tomato and a little bit of sweet chili sauce. And you know what? They were that good. I remember fantasizing about being a contestant on MasterChef, where the challenge was to make the best ever toastie. And I would have run straight to the pantry for my favourite seeded variety of gluten-free bread, and everyone would have looked at me like I was crazy, and the judges would have come around and questioned me about whether I was really making the right choice. Then at the end, my gluten-free toasted sandwich winning hands down, because it just had the best crunch to it, and the inside filling never got too hot. The insulation on gluten-free bread is somehow just perfect. But anyway, that's just one example of how different things can shine in their own way, and gluten-free bread, for all its shortcomings, is no exception. Another way to look at it is, imagine you were married to one person for most of your life, and then for whatever reason, you weren't together anymore. The marriage was over, and not by your choice. But then along came a new person who offered you a new chance at happiness, and they became your new partner. Would you expect that person to be exactly the same as the first one? No. Would you be constantly comparing them in every way and pointing out how the new person just doesn't measure up to the old person? No, of course not. Well, I certainly hope not anyway, because if you did, that relationship would be pretty much doomed. And if that's what you keep doing with gluten-free bread and other types of gluten-free food, guess what? You're not going to have a happy relationship with it either. Now, I know this bread marriage analogy might seem a little bit weird, but if you get a little philosophical with me for just a moment, the fact is, and I'm almost exclusively talking to people with celiac disease here, things with gluten didn't work out for you. Gluten is gone. You're much better off without gluten. Whether you knew it or not, gluten was hurting you. Now though, rather than never having bread or pasta or cake or biscuits or anything like that ever again, i.e. spending the rest of your life alone, you have a second chance with this new amazing thing called gluten-free food. Now yes, you may miss gluten or the thing or person you had before sometimes, but that doesn't mean you can't be happy with this new thing. And you know what? The more you appreciate this new thing in your life that's giving you the chance to be whole and happy again, the more you start to realize actually this new thing, person, food, whatever, actually has quite a lot to offer. Yes, they're different, but they're amazing in their own way. And the most amazing thing is they don't cause you pain and suffering. If you don't give this new thing a chance, you're not going to be happy. You can't keep looking back because acceptance and happiness is in front of you, not behind you. The gluten-free food market has exploded in the last few decades, and it's only getting better. Gluten-free food manufacturers are literally bending over backwards to make foods better and better for you. So now gluten-free products and substitutions are widely available, and I think it's all pretty damn good. And the fact is, if you have celiac disease, you have a chronic disease that could have completely wrecked your life. But instead, it can be completely managed with these amazing foods and products that are literally getting thrown at us right, left, and center. Don't you think that's great? Now, I don't want you to think that I always push aside the suckful side of being celiac, because I know firsthand how hard it can be sometimes. And I'm just as happy to hold that space for you when you need it. But it's not good to stay in that space forever. I also know that it took a little tough love to finally push me towards a state of acceptance about my disease and my diet. So maybe I'm hoping something I've said here is just what you needed to hear to get you closer to that place as well. So what do you think? Are you ready to say thanks and goodbye to your old partner, gluten, and say hello to your new and wonderful in its own way gluten-free world? If what I've said has resonated with you and you feel like you could use some more help with getting the right mindset after your diagnosis, I'd love you to come join us in Gluten-Free Mastery. This is a 12-month-long program where I give you all the training you need to transition successfully to a gluten-free diet, get your celiac disease under control, and start living your best life again. As well as that, you get to be part of a close-knit community and take part in regular online catch-ups and additional workshops so you can get any help you need along the way, which is really important in these early days. I'll put the link in the description if you'd like to learn more about that. And if you'd like to share your thoughts and tips around mindset in celiac disease, please do so in the comments below. And also don't forget to like my video and subscribe to my channel so I can start to reach more people like you. Goodbye for now, and I'll be back with another video real soon.